Hello, in this experiment we will do that combined BOIP programming in Android Studio. So at first we will open this Microsoft Word resource code. So here we will see the design that we're expecting to do. So as we open the Android Studio, we will start a new Android Studio project. Then my application name is combined BOIP. Just click next. Next, then finish. Then let's just wait for that Gradle to build and to finish as we start our program. Okay, so as we are waiting to finish that Gradle thing, make sure you download the exact Microsoft Word edited source code for that combined BOIP experiment. Okay, so it will just take for a while before those Gradle build will be finished. Okay, now since it was done, so you just have to look on those process if it is still running before you start doing that code. Okay, so it just have to take some time. Now as we look on our source code, so we will start first with manifest. So how do we look on manifest? Again, in Android Studio, just have to click manifest folder. Okay, by default we have in the main activity, so manifest, and then we have their Android manifest.xml. So first thing, as you look on, we just have to consider some of the part of that source code, compare that with our Android Studio. So as we look, this line doesn't have that code, so we just have to copy those source code which is not set by default. So by default we have these lines, so we just have to paste some of those lines of code. So in this case we just paste that permission thing. So as we compare in Android Studio, so we already have this line, so no need to copy that application thing. So we can now move on layout. So in Android Studio we can find out layout under res folder. So we have their layout, then we have this activity underscore main XML. So this is under text view. So in layout we have text view and design view. So in text view we will have to change first the constraint layout into a relative layout. So by default our Android Studio is set to constraint layout. So we will just paste or replace that line into a relative layout, and then examine again the code, which among those lines of code are not set by default. So as you notice, we have the main Android layout up to main activity, so that's why we will just copy here those Android padding properties. So we'll place it in between that line of code, so as we seen on our format, and then we will remove here those lines of code which we will not use. So after that, we can now copy the rest of the code within that relative layout. So make sure you just have to copy the line before relative layout. Okay, then paste it down. If you notice here, we have some syntax which are red, so no worries about that. We will fix that later on. So first thing that we will fix is those daemon line of code, because we need to create additional XML file in Android Studio, which is the daemon XML. So how do we do that? We just have to click values, right click, and then click new, values resource file, and then our file name is daemons.xml. Then click OK. This is where we will put that those sets of codes. But by default, it has the resources line, so we just have to copy that remaining codes and then paste that in between resources line. Okay, so we just paste this here. Then after that, as we go back on that, let's see. So yeah, we're done. As we go back with our design, so you will notice that the sets of lines of code under dimensions is already fixed. So now we will fix those other red lines or red of code. So those are set under properties. So for us to easily fix that, we move on design view. So this is how the design looks like. If in case you need to change that, you just have to click Optim, then Material Light, then okay. So you will see those tools. So we can start first with either, we start with the device IP. So looking on our code, so this is how the labels should be. So this will base our label. So we will use that later on. So as we look on device IP, the properties is under text. So we have to look on that device IP tool, so, and then look on the text properties. Then click that, add new resource, new string value. The resource name should be the name of the ID, exactly the same. So in this case, we have device IP. And the resource value is the actual label of that tool. So we have device IP address. So we have device IP address. Then click OK. So let's look if it's already fixed. Yeah, it's fixed. Now let's look on the second tool. So we have here target IP. So looking on the properties, we should look on hint. So here's the hint. Same process. Click that, then add new resource. The source name is target underscore IP. Resource value should be, so we look on our label, enter callee's IP address. So enter callee's IP address. Okay. Then next are those buttons. So start with start button. Let's look. The start button have the properties text. So we will look on that properties again. Okay, so on the design properties again is text. So looking at that text, click that right side button and then add new resource, new string value. Again, resource name should be the ID name, start underscore button, and then the resource value here is, let's look on it again. The label should be call. So I will set this as call. Click OK. Okay. Okay, now we will look on this. Now for us easily, let's look on the other button. So we have here the color close button. So add new resource value, new string value. So color close underscore button. Then the resource value should be color end. So color end. Again, color space end. Click OK. Okay, next button is for our, I think we only have here 4 more. Yeah. So we can have the receive button. Yeah, receive button. Yeah, under text, so make sure that the string value we will add, resource name is receive underscore button. Resource value should be, let's look it again, receive call. Okay, receive space call. Okay, next, last button that we have is the close button. So under text, we have to add new resource, new string value, close underscore button. Resource value should be callee end. Yeah, set the callee end part. Then we have here text before info IP and the info port. So you still need to do those two text bits. So their properties is also under text. New string value. So we have your info IP. That is for our IP information. Yeah, that's it. IP information. Resource value should be the IP information. This will display the IP address of the one who will do that voice call. And then last is our port information. So we have here info port. So add new resource, new string value. So ID name is info port. Resource value is port information. Click OK. So yeah, we're already done with the main activity. So for the layout, so make sure that we already fixed all those red syntax a while ago. Okay. Now we can proceed now with our next part, I think. So the next part should be the Java part, which is our main activity. So we will just do the same thing. So how can we look at? Just have to click Java folder, then the first file, main activity. So here is our main activity. As we observe the source code, we have to look other lines of code which are not set by default. So in our case, that the rest of those import lines are not set by default, so we will copy it and then paste it within that import line. So we can paste it on this area. Okay, then the next line, by default this line is already set. The main activity, yeah, as we look, we have this main activity. So we have to insert after that line. So these are the variable declarations. Yeah, we just have to copy until that override symbol. Yeah. So copy. And then paste that within that line before the override. And then as we see in here, we have set of default line. So make sure you just observe. So as we see in this public void super on create up to set content view are already there. So we just have to copy. The rest is the code which are not written there. So we have to place that before those close curly bracket. So we have two sets of close curly bracket here. Yeah, so we copy from that line device IP until the last line of code. Let's try to copy the entire thing up to the last line. Yeah, so here it is, the last line. So we will just copy and then paste. Expect that we have some errors on the last part because we also copy those two close curly brackets. So we need to do is to remove those two curly brackets. Yeah, that's it. We don't have any errors at all. Now we can run these lines of code, this main activity Java. So as we've seen, we don't have any errors on it. So let's try to run. So I have here my device. So click run, run up. My device is this Samsung TM. So looking on the interface of my device, this is my actual device. So try to see what's the output that on my device. So click run and then just have to wait for that installation happens. It will just take some time. I'm just remind you that some modern devices, modern Android device set permissions by default to disable. So I will show you here how to enable those permission things. Remember that we put that permission in the manifest. So modern Android OS disable those permission by default. So before you run that that application, this application, we have to set those permission first to enable. Okay, so you just have to check it first before you run, because we might have some error as we run that without enabling those permissions. So what I will do here actually is to set those permission thing. Then before that, we can run that same program with other device too, because we need at least two devices to communicate. One of those devices should call the other, then the other one would receive that call. So I run here the application twice on different devices. I have here two tablets. I install same application on those two tablets. Then I will show you how you will enable that permission first. Okay, so both of those devices should enable that permission thing if you're using modern Android OS. So you just have to close the program first, close that application, clear that all. Then yeah, we have to clear that all. Then look on settings of your device. So under settings, you will find out we have here applications. Click application, then application manager. So this is where we look on the name of the apps. On our case, the name of the app is Combine BOIP. So you just have to click it, and then we have here permissions. So you will see by default it's disabled. So you just have to enable this microphone and then phone functionality so that our application will run smoothly. Now let's look on the running those application in those two devices. Let's look the outputs. I have run here the combined BOIP on my other device, and then run combined BOIP also on the other device. As you look, different devices have different IP address. So let me try to call that the other device 10.2.1.212, the IP address on the right tablet that are shown in the screen. So I try to make call. I will press call, and then look on the label of IP information. There's caller with IP address is calling. Then I will just receive that call, and then now call is established. You can also try to call the other phone too, but before that you have to click callee end first so that the call would end. Yeah, I have your call ended, and then I will do the other thing. So IP address is 10.2.0, that is that 69, yeah. Then call. So on the other side, my 10.2.1.212 is calling, so I will receive that call. But yeah, but if you press callee end on the other side without receiving call, it might have errors. Yeah, that's it. So this is how the program would work. You can try it.